All right, once again, we are live for another edition of Sense8 Symposium, and we're going to do episode 7 today, well, number 7, but we're actually going to talk about episode 6, or episode 6, quote unquote, Demons. And today we have an interesting panel today. We got Jordan, Martin, Tony, and Vindy. And we're supposed to have a few more people, but technical difficulties, and we don't have Nomi here to sort that out. So here we are. And oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess I'd be the closest tech guy, but I would have to.
Martin, how's your Riley hair doing today?
Looks like you're still having technical difficulties.
Yeah, bummer. Okay. Well, actually, I would say that this episode is where we really start to get a lot of content. You know what I mean? It's really like meaty, if you want to look at it that way.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
It opens with that Will and Riley scene. The bar / in her bar in London, and I guess it's kind of the way that they first meet each other. And what did you guys think of that whole sequence?
I thought it was cute. It was like first, like they were talking to each other via their connection, and then Will gives Riley his phone number and said, "The only way you could have gotten this is if we are really talking to each other." She calls it, and I thought that was a cute little moment there.
I also like how they managed to capture that echo, when you're too close to somebody, and you.
Yeah, that was great.
I was like, that's a nice touch.
Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Jordan. That was really cute. And it was kind of funny, that little part with Will's partner when he, goes, "Oh, there's some girl with a weird accent on the phone," and then
she's
goes,
like, "Weird accent."
Yeah. Like, she sounds hot.
She sounds hot.
Like, I like him.
I like this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been said on the internet like that could technically be considered as the first like quote unquote Sense8 date in a way.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess it counts. Yeah.
Like, unofficially or officially, depending on how you wanted to look at it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it gets into it a little bit later in the episode, but we also see that like just slow motion sequence with Sun walking through her company, and all the dudes are carrying all the files and the boxes, and you just kind of feel like this heaviness as that's going on. What were you guys' first impressions of that whole sequence?
It was
Matrix style.
It was like you were seeing it through her eyes in a way. Like she knows what's going on, and she knows what's going to be happening to her, and you can feel like you said, the heaviness of the moment, because she knows in a few minutes she has to give this press conference, and she's going to be let off to jail. And
yeah, it was really horrible in a way as well. And then you just sort of see Nomi randomly standing there, and she sort of walking towards her, and the look on Nomi's face was quite. I mean, obviously Nomi was really brought down and quite upset at where she was as well. So you kind of saw that connection there, and it was just quite heartbreaking, really, knowing what Sun was about to do.
Yeah.
Great.
And then one of my favorite, I guess, kind of multiple segues is when Nomi and Neets are at their apartment, and then of course all the shit's hit the fan, literally and figuratively, and everything's pretty much destroyed. And then the one line she says, shit just got real.
Yeah.
And basically, as soon as that happens, we have like I think it's like a trifecta of Sun doing her confession, and then there's on top of that Riley and Nick's encounter of the second version that's not as quite as enlightening as the first. So I really like that connection, how shit got real on so many different storylines at the same time.
When Sun gives her speech, you would call you can call that moment one of Sun's most courageous moment, where she's, you know, we know she has a fighting ability, but this is a courage of a different kind, and you see it throughout. But I would say this is one of the most crucial scenes where we see her being the most courageous, and that determines her fate, I guess, for the rest of the show. Well, the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Such a life-changing event, yeah.
And it's like you said, it's definitely out of her comfort zone because she can't just fight her way out of this one, you know.
Yep.
And then, of course,
That's right.
with the infamous plastic bag scene.
Great scene.
First of all,
Oh,
yeah, we don't have to touch too much on this because it's kind of definitely hard to watch, but I definitely, one of my first thoughts was like, I wonder how real they actually filmed that, because that looked pretty damn authentic in a way to me.
Oh,
with all
yeah.
the gasping and all the other stuff.
And they shot it like in two different cities, because at least to me, when I was watching that moment and looking between Riley and where she was in that moment, and then Will at the bar, it's like their movements as they were gasping, and maybe it was just me seeing it one way. It looked like they were almost identical.
Synchronized.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian's acting in that scene, especially when it first grabbed hold of him. I watched it like I was watching it last night, and I had to rewind it and watch it again because his acting was just amazing. It was just like I was sitting there trying to imagine, you know, doing that and going through that with actually no plastic bag, and it was great acting in that scene, I thought.
Yeah. Because for him, it was like literally out of nowhere. You know, there was no like.
That's right.
So he.
I was just going, oh my god, who stuffed more? Who stuffed more? Oh my god, yeah. You just at that moment, sometimes you can tell who has sort of who's feeling it the most or whatever, but it was just so equal. You just fell for both of them at the same time.
Oh yeah.
It was just it was too much. I was just like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. And then go ahead.
Oh, and then you know, all his cop friends getting their ass kicked by him at the bar, like not knowing what's going on, and
yeah.
They're like, exorcist number 2. Exorcist number 2.
Yeah, exactly. The sense exorcists.
There you go, new terminology.
Yeah, it works.
And then, of course,
we should
speaking of
Sense8
exorcisms and demons,
oh, you planned this out, Evan. I see now. Yep. 6.
Very concerned. Yeah, you see what I did there? But Kala waking up to her entire family watching very closely all night.
I'm just waiting for this moment so we can have this discussion.
And I thought my family was detective.
Yeah.
I know, right? Wait a minute, I'm not that bad right now.
It was so funny, like she just jumped out of her bed and locked the door, and I'm like, smart girl. Now then she does nothing. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then she goes to the drawers, and it's like, wait, these are like man shorts. These are not.
She drops him at her. It's like, oh my god, she drops him. Okay.
Like, what the heck?
Then all right, Vindy, you can lead us into the Wolfie in the bed scene.
We know you
It's
want
all a
to.
blur, guys. It's all a blur. See, I forgot about the whole underwear dropping part, but yeah, then after she drops the underwear, she sees him, she panics, she runs to the door, locks the door, and he's got the little grin on his face,
Yeah.
going, yeah, we're gonna get to stuff. And she's like, no, we're not.
We're gonna get
Yeah.
to the things.
Yeah, so there was a couple of important things that was mentioned in the scene, but it was too hard to focus. But I'm yeah, so basically,
Literally too hard to focus.
I will let Evan, explain the scene, and then I'll just add to it. How does that sound?
Well,
There you go, Evan,
anyway,
all yours.
all right, I'll take that lead. But anyway, just one of my favorite lines overall is just, if we can keep a straight face to this whole thing, that's an extra bonus challenge. But it's that whole thing where he's like, you were looking then and you're looking now.
Yeah.
Just a look on his face, and I was like,
Yeah.
Come on, Evan. I thought you were gonna take this seriously.
Oh, what?
No.
There's no fun in that, at least not completely anyway.
This is not about nudity. This is about decency and privacy or something. See, like I said, it was too hard to focus. Yeah, it was very it was let's say interesting. He mentions, how you didn't want yeah, that's my tagline now. He mentions that you didn't want me to say it, but that's how you felt it, and that's where there's that sense of connection where, he says that, yeah, and then she's just stunned, and then she goes, "You're definitely a demon." In bed.
Yeah, it's like from when
bed.
the first time I saw you, I
Saw
wanted
you,
you, and for
yeah.
some reason I knew that you wanted me to.
You want me too? Yep, that's right. Yep.
But I mean, how cheeky and yet sexy was that little tap on the bed he did?
oh yes,
Yeah.
When he
yeah.
tapped
yeah,
on the bed, it's like,
And then just that knowing look in the eye, because yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, this is not happening, kind of thing. Yeah. It also showed about the different cultures again in the scene, in how he's fine waking up, in another person's bed. Well, and then she's freaking out. I guess if it was someone else, they'll be like, "Oh, hello," But yeah. Yeah, initially you would get freaked out, and I'll be surprised if you don't. But then you split second, you have to get over it. Emphasis on have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. And actually, just speaking of another, because after that we get into Lito, Daniela, and Hernando at the wrestling match. And one thing viewings. What did I say?
We're at the wrestling match.
Anyway.
And
one thing I didn't catch in my first cut. Oh yeah, the demon connection with what is it, the Parca Negra? And and then he was talking about how no matter what you do, if you don't confront your fears, the Parca Negra is gonna get at you until you kind of man up and face the demon in a way. So I thought that was another nice little connection as far as the demon for Lito representing Joaquin,
And was that him standing there? Is that's the impression that I got?
I think that was him. I think that was.
Yeah, I thought that was looking. Yeah.
Because he showed up at the apartment later, wearing
with the mask, right?
Yeah. So I think I once I saw him I wasn't sure the first time, but The second time when he showed up at the apartment, I was like, okay, that was him then.
Yeah, I'm with
At the
Jordan
wrestling
too. I'm
match,
like
yeah.
going, did he imagine it or was it real? Yeah, I'm with Jordan on that.
Yeah.
First
I
time
say it was
watching, I'm like
real.
going, yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it was
that's
the
what I
exact same
thought.
outfit, yeah? Yeah.
Mm.
Plus he's like a total stalker, so I could totally believe that he would do that.
Yeah.
He'd just scope out wherever they're going,
Yeah.
and his little mask. He's like, "I'm gonna get you. Go right for the jugular."
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
I think this is where I really appreciate Nando, where he's so knowledgeable. Like, I mean, he was explaining how the whole Mexican wrestling thing works and everything, and I'm just like Daniela going, I'm just trying to focus, man. I don't care about the history. I'm sure you
Yeah.
look like, yeah, whatever. But yeah. Oh no, sorry, that was Leader.
Yeah.
Because Daniela is always interested in what Hernando says or does. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially when he makes ceviche.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they just get on so well, don't they, though, Hernando and Daniela? It's great.
Yeah, that it just
It's a really cool connection.
yeah, exactly. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, just the three of them together, like in the friendship and the connection they have. I thought it could have gone really bad, but it as we can see from this point, has been turning out really well for all of them on multiple levels.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
right.
just balances
Yeah.
the whole relationship up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, Daniela brings that sort of spice that they were a bit lacking in terms of, the whole. She forms like sort of a bridge between Hernando and Leader in terms of in a different way. For example, the little things that she does, like for the ceviche scene, she draws attention to when Leader just eats the ceviche, and then she goes, "Oh my God, this is really good," and appreciates him. And then, no doubt, Leader notices that. Even at the wrestling match, she takes interest in hearing what Hernando says about the whole Mexican wrestling, and Leader is like, you can see in his face, he's sort of interested but not so interested, but he's interested in like, Daniela's paying attention, and Daniela's like, you should pay attention.
It's almost like she helps Leto to realize how amazing Hernando is on a different level than where they were before.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of takes them for granted a little bit, I think, and Daniela helps bridge that gap.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Because Leto has a tendency to have like that diva mentality, and like Fernando seems to take Fernando seems to take like the back seat a lot of the time. So I think Danny brings that out and kind of evens the playing field a little bit.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts, Martin?
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
hello.
Hola.
I have a quote. Are you hearing me? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Sí. When Hernando says with the parka, all the thing of the parka negra, the quote is, reflection of the struggle that takes place in our minds and our hearts. I think that's special for me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a really nice quote.
That's kind of hinting to what some of the senseis are feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where do they come up with these quotes? Okay, I'll shut up now. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't even be having this show in the first place.
Yeah.
There you go.
And another, in terms of contrasts and whatnot, there's like an echo as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Anyway, I just noticed the contrast between when Capheus goes to see Kabaka at the country club, and you know how pristine and expensive and high life that looks as opposed to where he just came from.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
bless you.
Bless you.
I pressed the wrong
And
button.
so
Yeah.
it just you press the unmute instead of the mute.
And
You push the
I
video
stopped the
instead of the
video
mute.
thing and so when you're listening.
And
But
I'm sorry, you first.
go ahead. I'm still kind
Well,
of
I
collecting
was
my
gonna
thoughts
say,
here.
yeah, because another thing I liked about that scene, because like you see, he brings Capheus in because he wants him to do something else for him, and he introduces him to his daughter, and in a way that you kind of still see him, he still is this big bad evil man, for lack of a better phrase, but you see, he has a bit of a human side to him. He does have some form of a heart, because you can tell just from that interaction he has with his daughter that he truly loves her and just wants the best for her and wants her to have a good life.
Yeah.
I think it was a really good twist as well, because you were expecting him to want to use Capheus in a bad way, you know, for his,
like a
his
drug
bad
deal.
side of the business. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, no, it's not actually. It's that he respects him and trusts him so much he's putting him in charge of his daughter. I think that was a really good twist. It's not what you were expecting him to be doing.
Yeah. And then I also there's also a nice parallel between Kabaka's half. You know, I feel like they're definitely bonding over that. And then and I don't know if it might have been a later episode, but Kabaka says to Capheus, it's like, you know, my enemies see my love as a weakness, but you and I, we understand that it's our strength. Talking about the mother and the daughter
and the mother,
desire to protect them at all costs.
So sort of like a, you know, maybe like like Capheus and his mom and Kabaka and his daughter. So Capheus can relate to it in that level, because the love he feels for his mom is the love that Kabaka feels for his daughter. So, and it goes to show that they will do anything for the ones that they love, even if they have to do bad things. So, yeah.
Great.
Yep. Moving on. And what did you guys think of the up close and personal connection between Leto and Sun when she's in the prison and Leto's in the interview?
That was both interesting and a bit humorous at the same time.
Yeah.
You see at one point, like, the doctor's asking Sun questions, and then you switch and you see Leto has taken her place, and the doctor's saying, take off your underwear, and I'm like, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, not gonna do that, yeah. And then right before that, he's like, oh, family is very important to me, and all this kind of stuff, and going into, like, deep interview questions, you know? And then, of course...
I actually squirmed. That scene, as a female, I just squirmed a bit, go, oh my god, you know.
Yeah, especially when they said to squat over the mirror, right? And it's just like,
yeah, exactly. I felt the same way.
Yeah. Horrible.
It's like, no, I'm not gonna do that, Christina. But see, this one of my favorite ending parts of that scene is, like, as frazzled as Leto was at that point, he brings it back so well with his desire becomes love speech, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't have the whole quote here, but I mean that whole speech was like, and you can see the interviewer was just like eating it right out of his hand, you know.
It's about he was saying something about you need to be a little bit selfish, but not too selfish.
At the same time, selfless.
And then
Yes.
and selfless, and it shows back into Lita's past with scene of him and Nando, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it and,
Yeah,
and it definitely
flashback.
and it definitely shows his skill, like to just in terms of being an actor and also to kind of think on his feet, like that in order to recover from the little. I wouldn't call it a slip up, change up maybe, because him and his son did change places.
Swap.
Yeah. And then we see him do that again in later episodes as well.
Yeah.
I think he definitely recovers a lot better than Will does in situations like that when they do visiting, because Will does not recover well.
Because otherwise Will would have been in the seat and he'd be like, "Hey,
There should be like a Sense8 workshops, like everyone, takes in turns and shares their skills and abilities, and like, Lito teaching Will going, okay, this is how you act. And then we'll get like, this is how you blow up things, so like, this is how you fight. And Cassius will be like, okay, this is how you drive a bus. So
I think the writers have done a really good job in that sense, where they've brought in those feelings about those characters, where they've written Leto really well to be confident and be able to handle any situation, and be able to recover like that, and yet someone like Will, who's the one that we kind of see the most slip-ups or the most awkwardness. Like, he's just so awkward and just and I think they've written them really well, because the actors really do portray that as well.
It's quite funny that Leto is playing an actor as an actor.
Exactly.
And he does a good job.
Actor within an actor. But see, also, there you go. We're in the Matrix still, after all, But and then I know, right? I thought I took both of them maybe by accident, but. And then there's that ending part where it's like, after he just has that profound quote, he's like, oh, and then he ends it with the I guess, and then he's like, well, did you get that? And he just like drops the mic, super cool, swag level, Nico Rodriguez, and he's off, off to the races, on to the next. Try to follow that one up, And then I guess to go in a little more depth of scene, we have that first, I would say, meaningful connection between Sun and Riley. When she's at Primrose Hill, and then Sun is at her cell.
Right.
And then there's just so much depth there, so I guess we'll definitely have enough to talk about just from this little bit alone.
Yeah,
it was nice just to see them not only meet for the first time, but in a way find a connection with each other, considering even though they're in two different situations, come from two different backgrounds, they still manage to find a connection and a link. And even at one point, they're like, Sun says, oh, I could really use a cigarette, and Riley gives her the hash, and I like this thing is like she said, when Sun said, I could taste it, but it's like a memory of it.
Yeah.
So she was experiencing what Riley has felt when she smoked it.
Yeah. And did you notice that when Sun drew it in, Riley blew it out?
Riley blew it out,
that was quite cool.
That was so cool.
Because
if I remember, was this
Riley smoking it? So
So was this the scene where Riley brings to attention the name Sun in the hill as well?
Yes.
Converse with the spiritual sun.
And I'm just like going, whoa, mind blowing. Because I've never been there, so I don't know.
Yeah, that was definitely mind blown for sure, and it just the whole thing where it's like, she's like, "Oh, your name's Sun, seriously?" And Sun's just like, Yes.
Yeah.
Why is that
Any
important?
point?
What?
What
Does
do you think,
anyone
Martin?
remember what was on this?
The what the inscription was?
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, I
You
remember something
you
like what you said with
you
the
will converse with the
son.
spiritual son.
The son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
That's what it was. And he was sort of spiritually there, so.
Yeah.
yeah.
He was there in spirit.
And she
Yeah.
was son.
Yeah.
So it was true, in a sense.
Yeah. So Martin, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the empathy that they made between their mothers, I think that was very special.
Mm.
Mm.
Type of connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like
Is
what
the,
I
I mean,
was. I'm sorry, you first, Wendy.
oh, me, no. Probably something silly. Evan.
Well, I was saying like it was like the common bond
Go.
through the different backgrounds. They still had that common thing when they were conversing about their mothers, like,
Mm.
and I found a connection via that like what Riley went through with her own mother, and then what Sun went through with hers especially when she
Yeah.
died.
Because they both lost them young, so it's kind of a
Yeah.
And then I also love that line where, I don't know if I'm wording it right, but it's that whole thing where she's like, "Are you afraid?" And they're like, "Don't be." And you're safer there than where you are.
where you
And then
are.
she asked the same question back, and he's like, "Are you afraid?" "Well, don't be. You're better off now than where you were," or something like that. And
Yeah.
I just thought that was just really well put to end that scene, you know.
Yeah.
Because it was at
Mhm.
that point that she decided to go back to Iceland to see her
Mhm,
father.
mhm. Despite the
Um,
risk of the Hex Lady and all that.
yeah. What's that woman's name?
Yrsa.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yrsa.
Because that's kind of like Riley talked a lot about her, and I remember one bit, and she was saying that because obviously when she first met her and said that she had a hex and had to leave and all that sort of thing, and she said when she was growing up, she heard her come to her and sing that song to her a few times. So I took that to mean that she was obviously visiting with her when she was younger and had that, even though Riley wasn't quite a born Sense8 or in her cluster as such, she was still getting visited by that woman.
Mm.
The same way that Will was with that other girl when they were younger. So yeah, I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, it showed that like even if they aren't awakened, they can still make that connection. Even apparently, like with Will and Sarah, it goes even beyond death. It seems.
That's right.
Although I had my theory on that Will-Sarah connection, but that may go into another episode.
Yeah.
Well, do share with us.
Well,
yeah, that confused the crap out of me, to be honest. I was am I watching the right show?
Like I know, like there has been discussion in the group saying how people thought because I don't know whether it was because she didn't have any discernible strong skills or that she was a mother, was that she was going to be the one who was going to be able to give birth to a new cluster. But
Sarah.
Yeah. Well, Riley.
Riley.
Oh, Riley. Yeah.
But Will, we see not only was he was able to have a connection with someone, but that connection apparently lasted even after she died. So,
that's pretty strong, right?
Yeah. It has been discussed in this series that it's like a genetic thing that marks someone as a sensei. What if it's like another genetic thing that marks someone as being able to give birth to another cluster? And so while everyone has been saying, oh, Riley's going to be the mother, what if, because through the visions that Will had when he was a kid, what if he's really going to be the father? And he's the one he's the one who has the ability to give birth to the new clusters.
Oh, hold on. Are we talking
Interesting,
about
yeah.
like physically? I'm thinking physically.
No.
Oh, like
No,
how
no,
that
and
no,
how
no,
would
no.
that work?
Yeah.
We,
I'm like,
we
That's a
already
whole
have
other
one
show.
graphic birthing scene. We don't need two. You know?
Yeah.
Enough.
this is going to a
No,
whole
no
new
more.
level.
Yeah, exactly.
No mas.
No more. No more.
Please.
But it speaks to the, as far as being a sensei, you don't actually have to physically give birth, at least, so that's
No.
a good thing.
Yeah.
So at least in the sense that we mere humans are used to the concept.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a birth on a whole different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this going back to the mother scene that Martin just mentioned, if it was very interesting because at this point we didn't realize Riley was mom, did we?
Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't know until that
No.
scene.
Yeah. So the way she
'Cause we-
described it, she's describing her pain as a mom as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because of you know how the senseis can feel each other's pain and everything. So some would have felt her pain, and she would have been, based on her reaction, I guess. She was like, oh, she's feeling a lot of pain, and then it starts making sense. Then it made sense to me when I was watching the upcoming episodes that Riley herself was a mom. So
Yeah.
it all
Yeah.
tangles up together quite well.
Exactly.
So the whole, she was saying, oh, I was singing this song and all that, and I was like going, either it's the hash or some, that's making Sun react the way she is. Then it all made sense later on, why Sun reacted the way she did. If we look back in that episode, she felt something. So I'm guessing it's because not just Riley's pain thinking about her being an ex, but also her, thinking about being a mom, how she was a mom for that short period as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that would explain too why she fell in with such bad company when she was in London, because I feel like she was just trying to get away from everything that she left behind. So she, unfortunately, it shows like the most drastic and stupid pair of people to pair up with in that sense. But I think in a way, I think she wanted to kind of destroy herself in the sense of maybe to try to feel again. So she purposely kind of got in with the wrong crowd,
Because she believed she was bad, She believed in a hex so much, like you said, Evan. And also, was this the scene where they make the quote about it's not the drugs that make...
Yeah, this is the one.
Yeah.
It's not the drugs that make the drug addict.
Need to escape reality.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Martin.
Martin is our quote guy.
What?
Martin's our quote guy.
I am here and just up here.
Yeah. He's our quote master.
Yeah. Very deep, Martin.
One more time.
Martin, what was the quote?
What was the quote?
It's not the drug that make a drug addict, it's the need to escape reality.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Right. Firm, right.
I need to figure out how to do like a clapping sound effect on this, because that would have been a definite candidate.
See, there you go. That's Martin's ability. He can just, pop out chords and very deep.
Yeah. He's our resident depth, one-liner depth.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and
go ahead.
Oh no, I was thinking, what were you gonna say next?
Well, I think what I'm gonna say next. At the Scene of all scenes.
Oh yay, we're up to that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's favourite
Magda.
scene in the series.
Oh,
Season.
there's too many, Tony. There's too many.
Yeah, exactly. Too many even myself.
So, I know you're all just chomping at the bit to get on this. So, who's gonna be first?
I'll volunteer.
I'll let Jordan. I'm volunteer Jordan.
Okay.
But in all seriousness, like the reason why I like the scene, and I'm just saying this on an overall level, not a content level. I don't think I have a really bad, dirty mind. Like they could have taken it. Oh damn you! They could have taken it to. Come on.
Okay, serious
please. Okay, they could have taken it to a really smutty level, but the way that they portrayed the scene, it was, I don't know if artistic is the right word.
Let's just call it artistic.
Okay,
yes,
well,
I would call it
very
artistic.
Yeah, in a way.
See, I'm very serious. I'm being very serious when I say that.
And I
it's
thank
very
you for
artistic.
that. Artistic and showing
That's your serious face.
Just be artistic and just showing the passion through the link, and then offering a little bit of humor, and at the end with Cassius.
Yeah.
With his most disgusted look ever downwards, with Van Damme in the background.
I wouldn't call that disgusted. Like when I saw him look at it, he was like,
oh,
what the hell?
Yeah.
This isn't normal.
Yeah. I'll confess, when I saw that scene, I had to. I knew what was happening, but at the same time, I was like, "What the heck is happening?" And then I actually.
That was my first thought. For the first time.
I was like, I actually Googled it, and I even posted up to JMS going, "Can you please explain that scene to me in regards to why only certain Sense8, participated when others didn't?" But then again, really thinking about it, oh my God, can you imagine all 8 on top of their partners too? God help us all. So it was
season 2.
Yeah. Oh God, no, it would be too much.
They gotta up it after that.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna up it, but you know what? Famous last words.
Full-on clusterfuck.
So I Googled it, and then
there you go. Had to
so
be
I
said.
Googled it and actually read the scene to try and understand it, and then I posed a question.
Did you do Google Images?
No, I didn't. I was good. And then I rewatched it again. I had to analyze.
Of course.
Because I had to analyze, because all along I thought Max was not in it. Yeah, all along I thought Max was just in the pool, but he wasn't in the pool. I realized later. Yeah, and some people, I read a lot. A lot of people thought he was just in the pool, getting lovely things done to him. Jordan's like, yes, Cindy. But he actually was at Hernando's place.
Yeah, you saw his back.
If you watch it closely,
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I honestly
no problem.
Yeah, because I honestly thought when I wasn't paying to all the details in the moment, but not like that. But it was like I thought he was just at the baths and
Exactly. So I wanted to clarify that. If you rewatch the whole scene, no one's gonna judge you. You can see.
We will all be judged by the courage
don't
of
do
our
that.
hearts.
Do not do that. Learn from my mistake, Jordan. Do not do that. Do not show it to your friends to try and break them into it. Do not do that.
It's been done.
It's been done. It's been done. Learn from my mistakes.
moving on.
Yeah, so Max was definitely out of the swimming pool. I don't know who in the world he did, but at the moment everyone was just like, "Oh my God," you know. But yeah, that scene was. I agree with Jordan. I don't know how everyone else felt, but it was artistic and it just brought the whole thought about the Sense8 connection together in a way that, you know, sometimes actions speak louder than words, like they say. So this is not just about them doing what they're doing, but it shows that the whole connection and also the Sense8 with the human world, you know, if that makes sense. So, for example, there's the Sense8s and there's normal people. Is that the right word to even use? So
or non-sensates,
having,
I guess.
yeah, non-sensates. So less controversial word, non-sensates. You know, and having that scene shows how, you know, we all are one. You know, like Hernando with his Hernando, Lido, Amanita, and Nomi. So love is love, you know, and we all are one. That's how I saw it as. So it's not just about a lot of people getting it on. I saw it as very artistic, and I found it that there's more. This really takes the whole, you know, actions speak louder than words, and that's how, you know, I saw the scene. Whatever anyone else thought, yeah. I've read a couple of very interesting how people read that scene. Go, it's very controversial, you know, oh my God, like 6 people doing it. I was like going, yeah, rewatch it. It'll make sense. And if you watch the show, it will make sense.
Make more sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Not,
but I mean, one of my favorite like little sequences in that whole larger sequence is with Will with the weights, you know, and it's like when what is it, Lito and Hernando, they're doing their whole thing too, right? And then like he drops the weight, and then the weight blocks the camera, and as soon as he lifts it up, Lito's right there, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just
amazing.
like so expertly shot, you know.
Yeah.
Well, look, the one thing I liked about it was that each person, I mean, each group or each Sense8, I suppose. I mean, you've got Nomi and Amanita. I mean, they were having sex already. You've got Wolfgang's in the pool naked, so he's probably kind of a bit free and kind of feeling it anyway. And then you know, you've got Lido and Hernando working out with Will, but I guess Will was the only one that was kind of in a situation where, well, probably shouldn't really be having sex right now, being in a public gym or in the police gym.
I'm in the gym,
but that connection between obviously your you know, working out and having sex kind of brings the same hormones, doesn't it? So and adrenaline and stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting connection, that although Will wasn't in the position to be having sex, he's still got those hormones rushing through his body because he's working out. So I thought that was really interesting. And again, would love to be a fly on the wall to actually watch him at the gym. I mean, apart from obviously
forget watching. Tony, forget watching. Jump in there.
So what must that have looked like?
Then you can see if you can get a rise out of him, you know.
Yeah.
Jordan,
I
can't help it.
I'm with Tony.
Yeah.
But I think
also with the sharing. Sorry. Also with the visiting between when Nomi and Amanita and Hernando and Lido, and then they swapped partners. So. Lido was with Amanita and Nomi was with Hernando. It's just like, I looked at it from Nomi's point of view, from making out with a chick, and then all of a sudden she's kissing this dude with this beard, and she obviously can feel what Lido feels, and I was just like, she didn't even flinch, she just went with it, you know, because she can obviously feel the difference, you know.
Well, my theory was that there was no difference. It is the same. You know what I mean? So even though we're showing Nomi and Hernando, it's really Lido
Yeah.
and Hernando.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're just showing that
Yeah.
what's happening, the shock, you know? Like,
Yeah,
whoa,
true.
you're not who I thought you were.
Showing that connection. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just feeling the passion coming in from all angles.
Yeah, and you're going.
The passion.
I love the way you put it together, Jordan. And also, I heard recently, I don't know if this is true, but it was that was one of the first film scenes that Will shot.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
Lido.
sorry, Ryan Jacob
I
Smith.
remember,
Yeah.
Lido
I remember
and
they said
Will.
like that was one of the first scenes they did together was that scene. It was, and
Yeah.
I remember,
Yeah.
and I remember what's the actress Miguel was like, well, that was an
Miguel
interesting way.
Silvestre.
Yeah. That was an
To
interesting
meet
way
everybody,
to
yeah.
connect and meet
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh, hey
With
guys,
his,
we can have like
his
a 7-7 or 6-7.
That's some serious team bonding there.
Yeah. And some of us wonder how they managed to get that bond between each other so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Get
taken
naked.
back by that when I found out. Yeah, just going, okay, we're taking collaboration to a whole new level of, teamwork.
I could have said it better.
So, yeah, the scene, yes, it was controversial, yes, but they did not put it, I believe they did not put it for the sake of, getting people's attention in, the sexual kind of way, but they really thought about it very well.
Very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was less chicka chicka bow wow and more just
Exactly.
how
Yeah.
deep the link can go. I mean, in a situation such as this.
Yeah.
Wait, Jordan, it
You
was
know
less
what?
what?
The whole thing is
It
Danielle.
was less chicka chicka bow wow.
There it is. Okay.
If you want to get the music, chicka chicka bow wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
and
we're
the
getting
music.
somewhere.
Yeah, and the music fits
Oh,
in perfectly, and
I love
but
that.
yeah, the music, the song just fitted perfectly to the scene, and I don't know how did everyone feel about the whole Daniela part? Like, I mean, it
You
just
mean
felt like she was a
Gay
fly.
porn,
She's like the fly on the wall. She's like, oh, if she knew, I reckon if she knew that everyone was doing this whole thing, I reckon she would be the first one jumping in there rather than, treating herself. I'm like going, oh, poor Daniela, but she's like a fly on the wall. So Tony, like you said, she's a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Not even a fly, she's like a blind fly because she doesn't even know this is happening.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was when I put a post up, because like, see, there are still people that the 8 of them are close to, at least on the physical level, if not emotionally, and like who else would be brought into the fold like Amanita has been, and like of the ones I thought were most likely for the next season, I thought like Daniela, she would be the most, like, if once Lido told her and Hernando the truth, I think Danielle will be like, all right, how do I join in?
Okay, I reckon next one, my prediction for next season, it should be Daniela, Wolfgang, and Tosin Will, just for amusing.
Will can fit in with all that, in any situation.
Yeah, and just so we can have more cute, confusing scenes of him going, "Do I know you?" So
yeah.
I just want to see. I would have liked to see like a scene between him and Wolfgang after the moment.
Oh yeah.
That would have been priceless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did think
and then,
the scene with Daniela was funny. How she's got her phone there and she's taking the photos, or video or whatever she's doing, and then she's sitting there and then she just goes, "Screw it." She goes, "Screw it," drops the phone, and then just like slides her hand down. She just she gave in.
It's like
she should have waited a bit longer.
Business hours.
Then she would have participated in the whole thing.
Yeah. She's like, why should they have all the fun?
Exactly.
And she missed out on the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good things come to those who wait. She should have waited.
There's always season 2. There's always season
Yeah.
That's true.
Season 2.
You can just wait for season 2, then it can be remedied, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the closing, what did you guys think of that closing scene where Sun has that dream of her mother who actually turns out to be Angelica?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the way I
That was-
the way I interpreted that, because Angelica, of course, is the mother of them all, so to speak. And even though she is no longer with us, like there's still a part of her that's always going to be with them, at least in spirit. Because I mean, we've seen her show up again in other episodes as well.
Yeah.
So like, I think that was part of her spirit or her spirit, but she was definitely took on her mother's form to give Sun a warning to not reveal her gift, because otherwise she probably would have been found out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene confused me just a tiny bit. Like they cannot know who you are or something. Yeah, can someone explain that a bit? Because
they're like, because you're the future, you know, and I exactly does that mean? I mean, I can understand like the future if everyone was a Sense8 and everyone could draw on abilities of other clusters. It's like Jonas was saying before, that would be too much of a threat to the establishment, you know. So in that sense, go ahead.
I was going to say I agree. I agree with what you were saying. Because like it may be like, because like what happened in the past is that first there were the Sense8s, then the non-Sense8s, which were a mutation, but soon became the majority, and maybe it's now in this time Sense8s are starting to rise up again in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
That's how I interpreted when Sun asked what was she, and Angelica said the future. It's like maybe the future being Sense8s are going to become the majority again over non-Sense8s.
And Vindy, I think when she was warning her and obviously saying, "Don't let them find out who you are,"
that's a part.
Obviously, she's going to jail. So, you know, there could be, you know, if something happens in jail and testing and stuff like that, what Angelica was meaning was that she didn't want them to find out who she was, otherwise it's going to happen what happened to Nomi and then later on, obviously, to Riley, with whispers coming, because it would go in the system and then they would find out who she was and that she was a Sense8. I think that's what I got from her warning her like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part freaked me out with the whole Angelica and Sun's mom. I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah. And the whole warning thing as well a little bit.
She's like a shape-shifting Dreamweaver 2.0 or something. It's
for a second, I just like going, oh my god, what if Sun's mom really kind of didn't exist? It was Angelica in a different form. I don't know. I was just coming up with my own freaking theories.
That could definitely go places.
Yeah, like we don't know how Riley's mom looked like, right? Do we?
No.
You don't know what?
I don't think we ever. Well, when she was
we never
giving
saw
birth
Riley's
to
mom.
Riley.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
But other than that, we never really saw her.
Yeah. It's gonna be very interesting to see it all fixed.
Exactly.
I wanted to
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
In my case, I think that the future, the world, and the meaning is like how dangerous they are for society as an act of revolutionary for the common people, as they can do things that other ones can.
Yeah.
And that's why they are being
hunted.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. That does make sense.
And it's I wonder if it too ties back to what Felix said to Wolfie, I think either last week or the episode before that, where he's like, you know what, it's obedience that keeps the system together, and like, what about our revolution, So there's like little seeds there that there's gonna be some kind of rebellion coming on. I would imagine.
That could be the new cluster.
Yeah. Rebellious
yeah,
cluster.
for us or against us, yeah.
Or just maybe some sensates in general rebelling against the majority. It's in itself.
That
like,
good point. Yeah.
Just rebelling against the world's the norm
BPO.
of the world's society, or BPO too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like Evan said, they're planting little seeds, like the little warning by Sun's mom, so that makes you really question going, okay, what's going to happen? And, then because this episode is sort of, it's right in the middle of the season. So it makes you start questioning these little seeds. Makes you start questioning the next season, and now little information has been revealed to us. Like we have a new cluster. So then makes you go. This now we're discussing the scene. We just go, okay. So the rebellion, will it be against humankind, or will it be with the new cluster? Are they going to form together? Is some of the existing cluster they're going to switch over to the new cluster? And this, where's the balance between good and evil? Where, and where does humankind fit into it?
I kind of wonder too if it's going to be like a thing where I don't know how many of you guys, if you've all watched The Walking Dead, but you know how basically they each form their own groups and they want to try to eventually just kill everyone else who tries to mess with them.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if it will get to a point where it's like, you're not us, so we have to destroy you, kind of a thing.
I can imagine Wolfgang doing that. I can totally
Wolfgang.
imagine him doing that.
Yeah.
And Carla will be on the other side of the fence she'll be conflicted going, this is the person I love, but he's become this person that I don't know anymore. But yet she has a connection. So this whole connection thing, it'll be very interesting to see next season. So how it plays a part if some of them ends up becoming bad. So, yeah. Yeah.
It may turn into a humans versus sensates thing, for all we know.
Yeah, it could be human versus sensates. It could be sensate versus sensates. It could be, them. I don't know. Yeah. So
Sense8 gladiators battle to the death.
The American Gladiators theme I had.
Let's put our votes in. Round 1. Leader and Will. I'm sorry for all the Will fans. I'm going for Leader. Because he can throw flower pots quite well.
Yeah. and the whole time it'll be like, not the face, not the face. but anyway, I think. Oh, any final thoughts?
No, I just think it was a great episode.
Yep.
Really enjoyed this one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Has everyone got it out of their system now? The whole demons episode. Has everyone got it out of their system?
At least
until
we
going back and watching it.
Yeah. Until we watch it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Jordan, you're muted.
Can you hear me now? Okay,
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But anyway, I think that about does it for us this week. And thank you guys again for joining me. And tune in next week as we go into episode 7. I can't recall the title off the top of my head, but
is it what would Nancy Drew?
Oh yeah, W.
Oh, that's the W. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Jordan.
Cool.
So, and for anyone that's missed this broadcast and wants to catch it later, it'll be live on the YouTube channel. And until next week, remember that you are no longer just you.
See you guys in
Have a
3
good
weeks.
rest.
Bye.
Bye bye
Yep.
all.
See
See
ya.
you next
Have
time.
fun.
Bye.
Mhm.